An autumn holiday for Ines and Jack in 2016. What do you think so far?
Here we are sitting all on our own in this lovely buffet breakfast area. I think it's 20 to 8 in the morning in Budapest, sitting on the river, looking at the city. Lovely morning, sunshine, and looking forward to a nice tour of Budapest in about an hour's time.
Already paid for too.
Beautiful view of the palace and the Danube, and after even a little bit monument of peace and independence. Yesterday somebody said there's an angel, but he's not an angel. So he's are located here on the left-hand side. Originally, the hanging gardens of the you see on the top of the. Can you see that big bird? So that is the mystic bird of the Hungarian. It is a granite. So later this pyogranite became very, very popular. Many buildings in Vienna, also in Budapest, also in Austria, Germany use this pyrogranite. When you see in Vienna Stephansdom, the same tiles. But it doesn't sink. So just the parliament. So you see the Titanic on the back side. So that's the Titanic Parliament. It was opened 114 years ago.
Please have a look at the beautiful stained glass windows. These are from the end of the 19th century, when the easy occupation of Budapest.
Well, it's very interesting, is Budapest. I remember from my school days that Buda and Pest are two different cities. One up one side of the river, the other at the other. Presently we're in Pest or Buda, I don't know.
I think we're halfway between, but
No, we're not.
How do you remember that far back? It's an awful long time.
I've got an incredible brain.
It's an awful long. How many years is it since you were at school?
A lot. More than I care to remember.
Be careful. Yeah, don't fall off in there and break a leg.
Well, this is a wonderful square where there's all the old kings, the previous kings of Hungary are listed in statuesque form.
And are you enjoying wearing my hat?
Your hat is wonderful. It keeps the sun off, and so I don't get blisters on my head.
Thank you. In my bag, take them down to our room, so that in the morning we can have a nice cup of tea in a proper cup instead of having to use those little plastic ones I brought.
Oh, you are wicked.
And you'll really appreciate that, won't you?
I will appreciate it.
Lots of interesting buildings in it, and a bit of history. I think that's good. I think it could be, I have to say, I think it's a little bit grubby. I think it could be better cared for.
But it's recovering from the communist era when it was very grubby.
Now I'm talking about litter and graffiti and just a bit of general grubbiness.
Yeah, but it's still recovering.
Which I didn't expect.
Certainly nowhere near third world, not even second world. It's definitely in the first world, isn't it?
Yeah, we do it.
There's another one coming there.
Bit closer.
Watch the wheelhouse come up. As soon as we're through, there he goes.
Spanning the Danube below the Matthias Church is the celebrated chain bridge built with iron links manufactured in England. Any part via the old Ludwig Canal that linked
The Houses of Parliament on the right. This eclectic structure with its towers and spires really does remind us quite a bit of the Houses of Parliament in London. It was constructed around the turn of the century.
I'm going to sit there for a bit.
Okay.
German Walter Wilhelm. What you see in front of us now is the first lock of our stretch. That is the lock of Kapčíkovo, which is in fact the largest one, volume-wise, on the entire cruise between Budapest and Passau. It has a volume so that 4 ships from our size would fit in there at the same time. That's how big this lock is. We will be getting a lift of 11 meters, so 33 feet, before we exit the lock then into a man-made canal, the so-called Kapčíkovo Canal, with a length of 25 kilometers or some 14 miles, which will take us quite a bit towards Bratislava. They came up with this canal because the natural flow of the Danube after we will exit the lock is too narrow and too shallow to actually navigate it, and therefore they came up as a joint project, the Slovaks and Hungarians did, with this canal in order to make commercial shipping possible. That was in the 1950s, 1960s. Before that, cruising between Bratislava and Budapest was impossible. You will then be seeing some concrete walls indicating that we are in a canal, and you'll also realize that we are quite a bit up from the regular soil, from the ground level, and again those 11 meters which we will be lifted up now, 33 feet. So ladies and gentlemen, the Kapčíkovo lock coming up right now, followed by the Kapčíkovo Canal. Towards the Viking Wilhelm. This is a reminder call that in 10 minutes, by 10 a.m. we will be conducting a mandatory safety drill, for which we kindly ask you to have your life jackets with you, actually put them on as well, and then make your way to the muster stations, which you will find on the sun deck 1, 2, 3.
That's the alarm, folks.
No, it's too big for me.
It didn't seem right, did it?
Looked like a drowning jacket to me.
Not him, he'll try to get off. Oh, he misses everyone's heads.
Morning, coming along the Danube Canal, which was about 15 miles long. We're now back on the Danube itself, doing a steady 10 knots.
I see you've got a better hat on today.
Yes, I've got my best sun hat out.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost my best sun hat. So in order to stop the sun from substantially getting in my nose and duly burning it.
Yeah, at least you don't need my hat anymore.
No, I don't need your hat anymore. You can wear your own hat, thank you very much.
Right,
And today we're going to, where are we going?
Bratislava,
Which is the capital of the Slovak Republic, which is also on the borders with Austria and with somewhere else. It's on 3 borders.
Bow their heads. I know some stories from my parents who told me that sometimes happened that, you know, the people in Eastern Bloc, they weren't allowed to travel freely to the West, and they heard it's possible to swim across the Danube in Bratislava to escape to Austria. And some of them came here, and secretly during the night they swam across the Danube here, where both sides still belong to us. And on the other side of the Danube they were celebrating because they thought they are already in Austria, but in the morning they found out they are still in communist Czechoslovakia, so it must have been a miserable feeling for them. But they should have done it 6 miles to the west. Younger brother who couldn't make the important decision himself. And after the fall of communism, they wanted to make this federation work. Slovak Prime Minister wanted to have more competence. Czech Prime Minister didn't want to have less competence. They were arguing about competence, about budget. And in the end, they divided our country. Nobody asked us. There was no referendum about this question. This part we are sitting now is early Gothic part from the 14th century. And sanctuary, the front part, is from the 15th century. So it's late Gothic. The difference is that walls in this early Gothic part are heavier.
Well, Ines, what do you think of this special ice cream?
I think it's nice. Mine's very nice anyway.
What is yours?
Mine's chestnut.
Chestnuts. Looks excellent. Was it worth going to the special ice cream shop, Ines?
Would you like an honest answer?
I love an honest answer.
Would you like the answer that I prefer to give you?
Well, give that then.
It was a lovely ice cream. It was well worth the walk up there.
What about the company you kept?
Well, the company was a bit iffy. I had to keep telling him off.
Now from something Hungarian to something
What have you done to cause this delay?
That caused this delay. Not really sure what the problem is, but
I don't think it's El Capitano, the ship's moving because it's not tied up properly.
I could just jump across there.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to because it's not safe. Where are we now, Ines?
We're at, in the Washoe Valley, which is notoriously absolutely beautiful, and I can honestly say it's
Now this looks like Austria. This looks like Austria to me.
It is Austria.
I know, but I didn't feel like.
Oh, before where it was flat, yeah. Hey, no, come in, I wanted you in there. No, you've been in it, you see, but you backed off as you were talking. Because see, the trouble with a video is that if they're silent, it's like Charlie Chaplin. But if you say something, then it's more like a television interview. And that's what I was aiming at, and I've got the church in the background, you see. And you came in beautifully there, but then backed off.
Oh, I've ruined your video.
No, you haven't ruined anything. You couldn't ruin anything, I can assure you. Can I help you?
no.
Wonderful views on typical Austria from here. Pretty place, isn't it?
This is absolutely gorgeous.
One of the best you've seen.
The best we've seen on this trip, and probably one of the best I've seen anywhere. It's so beautiful.
Dernstein.
Called Dernstein, and it's in the Washoe Valley.
Or the beginning of the Washoe.
Yes, and we've got
Stretches over there.
stretches right over there. We've got more to see this afternoon. We'll be sailing
through it, so there'll be lots of pictures then.
through the valley. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
As he attempted to find his way home via Austria after having been shipwrecked off Italy. He did travel in disguise, however, he apparently made the mistake of trying to pay for a meal with an English coin. He was arrested and kept in the castle until the English paid a huge ransom, which was used to build the city of Neustadt, a new city to the south of Vienna. Legend tells us that no one really knew where Richard was held and that his faithful minstrel Blondel toured Europe, singing under all the walls of all the castles he could find. He sang a song only known to himself and Richard, and finally at Dernstein, Richard's voice join in the refrain, but that of course is only a legend.
So Ines, as we leave Dernstein, do you have a parting comment?
Lovely place. I don't suppose we'll come back this way again because we'll probably go somewhere else next time, but well worth a visit. Yeah.
It really is well worth a visit, isn't
Yeah,
it?
a lovely day, look at the weather.
It's about this beautiful gorge. We are just now cruising through. The Wachau Gorge is some 15 miles long, or 24 kilometers, stretching from Schönbühel Castle, which we will be seeing in about 2 hours from now, to Dernstein, which we just left and was created by the Danube, cutting through the hard granites and gneisses of the Bohemian Massif. The precipitous slopes rise 1,000 feet and more above the river and are crowned by castles. The sheltered nature of this winding gorge gives it a special microclimate. Here it is actually warmer than in adjacent areas, snow lies on fewer days than in the rest of the valley, and in summer it is actually warm enough to grow peaches and apricots. Above all, the Wachau is famous for its vineyards, with south-facing slopes, where there are fertile deposits of wind-blown loess. Wines grew in the Wachau in Celtic times, but it really was the Romans who first produced wine fillings. They sell apricot jam, apricot marmalade, apricot brandy, and of course also apricot soap. Ladies and gentlemen, as everything is about this beautiful product, apricots, we also would like you to taste a little bit of it. Your waitstaff is just about to come around with apricot brandy to make your cruising through this Wachau Gorge even more enjoyable. So enjoy. That's the kilometer marks from the river Danube, starting from its confluence with the Black Sea down in a Romanian village called Constanța, and it goes all the way up to a place where the Danube is its source, which is a small village called Donau-Eschlingen.
Oh, there are indeed.
The terraced slope behind the town resembles an amphitheater and is known as the Mountain of 1,000 Buckets because it is said to produce 1,000 buckets of wine in a good year. The remains of two castles can be seen, one on the river and the other on the slopes above. From 1483, Spitz became an enclave of the Dukes of Bavaria, but this German intrusion onto Austrian soil did not please the Dukes of Austria, who finally ousted the Bavarians in 1504. Ladies and gentlemen, just passing on your left-hand side, Ackstein Castle. Perched on the rocky height, some 980 feet above the river, you can see the ruins of it. It belonged to the lords of Kürren, who expanded Austrian territories at the expense of Germany. However, they have aroused the fear and jealousy of the Dukes of Austria, who stormed the castle in 1231 and 1296. The castle then passed into the hands of Georg von Wild, who made it into one of the strongest on the river.
Well, it is rather superb to be on a boat where you can walk around, have your lunch, have a drink. Much, much better than being in a bus. Wobbly wibbly.
And the weather's perfect.
And the weather's perfect. This blue board with the flashing light on top of the wheelhouse is the past me to starboard board for the next boat, ship coming down river.
The Benedictine monastery of Melk in 1089, Leopold II of the powerful Babenbergs family handed over his castle at Melk to the Benedictines, together with large donations of land. The monks turned it into a fortified abbey built on top of a steep rock, the base of which was originally washed by the waters of the Danube. The monastery was subordinated only to the Pope and was free to run its own affairs without any interference. It engaged in trade on the Danube and profited from the agricultural production of its huge estates. In time, the monastery grew to be one of the richest and most powerful of the 2,000 and more Benedictine houses which stretched from Spain to the borders of Russia. The original buildings were gutted by fire, and this gave the opportunity to rebuild from 1702 in the Baroque styles that we see today. The best architects of Austria were employed, led by Jacob Brandauer. The buildings are enormous in their scale and are grouped around 7 interior courtyards. The western face of the building is 1,066 feet long, which is about 330 meters. A visit of the interior of the monastery is not to be lightly missed, and that is of course what we have on the program this afternoon as an included tour. The library, as already said yesterday, houses more than 80,000 volumes and priceless manuscripts, while the Abbey Church is a highlight of Baroque with its soaring pillars, painted vaults, statues and marble. The dome is 213 feet high and is decorated with God the Father, Christ and the Evangelists. Saint Benedict is received into heaven on the vaulting of the nave. The church is actually regarded as the most beautiful Baroque structure north of the Alps. Ladies and gentlemen, this also concludes the commentary through the Wachau. We sure hope that you did enjoy that.
It can take 60 minutes, and you can have lunch there, and you have a great view over Vienna. Yes, especially today. Perfect. And to top it off, because it's already so good, but it gets even better. See that platform there? There, for after lunch, you get for dessert. Bungee jumping. Yeah. His honor when he was reigning for 50 years. He did quite a lot so the birds don't poop on it. No. No. The double-headed eagle of the emperor. See? They were branded. So very green, the oxidized copper. And this is architecturally known as Baroque. And Vienna has a lot of Baroque architecture.
This is where St. Stephen's Cathedral,
Yeah,
in the centre of Vienna.
yeah. I think so.
What are you trying to say? We completely lost
We're in the
them.
cathedral, yeah, in St. Stephen's Square.
The double-headed eagle of the emperor. See?
Is the tour a bit rushed?
A little bit, but it's good. Yeah, it's
Excellent. You've been taking plenty of shots. Because I've been in a knot with my wire. This is my cake that I was thinking is awful. So are you excited about this trip? Are you finding it fascinating and exciting?
You talk about the wheel?
Yeah.
Climb every mountain, search high and low, follow every path. Now, once the Roman Empire was over, which was at the end of 400s, lots of nations, we have been experiencing the best time ever since these 20 years between World War I and World War II, and in 1500s. 1500s was extra proud.
For the record, we're in Chesney Krumlov.
Once the nobility, lords of the world, were establishing the city, they had to get a permission from the royalty to have the city.
We're in the question of Grosnov.
Chesney Groznov.
Krosnos, sorry, with a K. It's in Czechoslovakia.
No, it's in the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, sorry. Yeah, with it's absolutely gorgeous sunny day.
The Vltava River, I haven't mentioned that.
Renaissance was slightly different. It liked square shape. You see doorways, square shape, tiles. Also, what it is, you can see 2 windows there, and they used to announce time, walk around the balcony and play particular tune every 3 hours. At noon, very proud. But nevertheless, they stopped practicing. Now, once they learned that Hitler was paying too much, gypsies came with Russians from Balkan states, from eastern side, and they moved into the town because once city was empty, anyone could come here and move into the city.
Spent a morning walking around the castle, see it there, and had a guide who's been very good. She's told her all about the communist area and the communist flags are up that way. Showing put on in a second.
Krukov. Chesney Krukov. Krakow. Down, we're going to the Torture Museum. But I don't think we're...
I know all about torture being associated with you.
Alan Jack, what are you doing here?
I'm sitting having a rest, having had a slight lunch. We're in Grozny Krukov, somewhere like that, in the Czech Republic. I've just had a very light lunch and a beer.
What did you see this morning?
And this morning we saw another rotten castle. and a few old churches.
Yep.
And I'm sitting in a nice park. Well, the sun's still there, but we're in the shade.
It's gone low.
And we're just waiting for the buzz.
How many ice creams have you had this holiday?
This is the first ice cream I've had today. And it is a two-scooper. But it's a two-scooper and a one-scooper cone, which means that one scooper is precariously balanced on top of a second scooper.
Is it good?
It's very nice.
Good.
And much, much more is coming up next, including some Broadway favorites you may know the words to.
My heart wants to beat like the wings of the birds that rise from the lake to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like a child that flies.
These are a few of my favorite things. Don't be shy, we can do it. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. Here we go! These are a few of my favorite things. Yes, now you're a choir.
Passau, our first stop in Germany.
We are a tongue of land, a peninsula. It's just that we're way older than Manhattan, way smaller. It's just a few people that live on the peninsula. Our bishops in the Middle Ages, they were prince bishops. And you know the term from our lovely friends in the UK, they had a lot of prince bishops there as well. Bishops owning their own territory, having their own troops. Henry VIII got rid of them there. An Alpine river, it comes from Switzerland, it flows all the way through Austria. You know, no refrigerators, you could preserve meat and fish only really with the salt. And this is why the bishops were so rich. They've owned the town, and every barge that arrived to here had to pay toll to the bishops. Now you know why it's short. It's $14.99. We call it Sissy.
The Danube flash floods frequently. The last one was in 2013, here next to the top on the wall. The previous highest was 1501.
For the carriage door, this is how the bishop got inside his own palace without walking. They're called fun Habsburg. In Austria, they got rid of the fun type. That just happened. Show off with your knowledge, your education again. Where is the museum that doesn't charge any entrance? Gothic was built in a time when they were believing in the world being like a pancake. Flat like a pancake, like a pizza. This was the most exciting axis that they came up with, the vertical one. Sitting there, that's exclusively one part. That's the only one that is played separately once in a time. Normally it's from the main keyboard in front of the main fresco. And when you look at the third one, there is something different. There is a hole in the middle. Behind the hole, behind the golden grill, there is our echo organ, the echo. Like a distant echo added to the music that we hear in the nave. And this is what makes it really then like a Dolby surround. Make sure not to be too close to the main organ. It's very dominant and very loud. And not to be too close to the front, because then you're too far away from the echo. Carlone, the plasterer, his plasterwork is just stunning, and it's still there. We have to just sometimes get rid of the dust. That's one of the
Passau in front of the cathedral. We're about to have an organ recital.
About 10 minutes time. And it's lovely.
In the cathedral. The organ had about 10,000 pipes, and the organist was determined to demonstrate every pipe, but he didn't really play a tune. Our ship was the one closest to the bridge. What did you say then, Ines?
I said, do you think we're on the right path?
No, I don't think so. I think we're totally lost. There are so many paths to choose from. It's hardly possible to decide the right one. There we can see two of the three rivers. The inn in the far distance, and close by at the bottom of the frame is the river Danube. This is where the inn and the Danube join. the confluence of Seine, and there's a cafe overlooking it. And I think we may partake in that because it's about lunchtime. Geckos on the wall. This is the confluence of mainly the Danube and the Inn River down from Innsbruck. The Innsbruck River brings the silt from the Alps, which is a different colour to that comes down the Danube. What do you think to this then, Ines? Now we're in the...
We're at the end of our holiday, the last day, and it doesn't get better.
In the Oberhaus Garden.
Yes, overlooking Passau and the ship and the three rivers. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been gorgeous, but the one thing that's been missing is we've missed Donald and Joan. Or Joan and Donald, I should say. Or particularly Joan.
Doesn't matter about Donald.
Missed their company, but it's been super.
We must go on one of these Viking river cruises again.
Yeah.
I can thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah.
These are a few of my favorite things. When a dog bites, when a bee stings, meow. When I'm feeling